Alright everybody, this is Poppa Bigfoot and we are coming at you today outside of a little town called Jet, Oklahoma. Today we are going to be looking for selenite crystals in the salt plains here in Oklahoma. Figure I'd take a brief second just to show you this field right here. See how flat and smooth this field is? It's about, maybe 2 years ago, this field was the field I dug in, and it was completely covered in holes. Mother Nature just comes in, takes it right back over the rains, levels this whole thing off, the crystals start reforming, and within a few years, it's like nothing had ever happened to it. Alright, I figure before we get too far into all this, let me give you a little overview of what we got here. Anytime you want to pause it, zoom in, whatnot, you can take a look at any of these billboards here. It explains a little bit about what the park is, how the salt flats form. And right here, this is their method for digging the crystals. A little later on I'll show you my method and how it works for me, how it varies from theirs. These are the birds that I was explaining, that I will be explaining a little later on, and how the digging process actually helps the habitat for these birds. I believe it's in these signs here as well. But like I said, feel free to pause, zoom in. Okay, the place does have bathroom facilities. Not going to take you inside, that's a little crude. Due to the fact that they are outhouses, and this facility does not have running water. So you can imagine what kind of toilet systems are inside of there. But they're toilets nonetheless, and if you have to go, you have to go. And there's a place to go. Over here, there's a lookout tower. You can get up there and actually do some nature watching if you choose. You know, it gives you a little higher vantage point to look out and over the beautiful white, snow white grounds of the salt flats that just go on and on forever. Stay tuned to the end of the video and I'll show you our finds, our dig, all cleaned up, treasures we pulled out of the ground today, and you'll get to see just what treasures are beneath this ground. Alright, here we are. We picked up where somebody else had left off. They tell you on the little sign up front, dig down until you hit water, the hole will start to fill up. And that's about the level of where the crystals are. You'll have the water to rinse it off, leave the holes open, it'll attract the bugs, the birds will come in for the bugs. What we've discovered on the several times that we've been out here is that the crystals aren't quite that deep. If you actually go down, so wait a second, right over there, is that one? Sure is, right there. Little broken one right there. If you go down maybe 6, 8 inches deep. The water doesn't quite seep in. You don't have the water to rinse them off. I guess that's one benefit of the water. But that's where you start to pull them out at. They're not always, you know, picture perfect. But that's where the quantity of them is. You're allowed to take 10 pounds a person out, one large cluster. I've yet to find a large cluster out here. They say they're here though. I'm sure that's what you'd find if you dug deep enough. We just haven't found any yet. But I mean, we've only been here, I don't know, 5 minutes, and we've already found 10 or 12 just in somebody else's leftover hole. So this is just an example of how I prefer to do it. Once you find somebody else's hole, you get to the edge of it, and I'll take a little claw tool like this, and I just kind of reach down in there. Ooh, there's something right there. Right there. There's a, whoa, right here under that claw.
Yeah, oh yeah, there it is.
There's a cluster right there.
Yeah.
A huge cluster, Angie. Look.
I'm getting there, baby. I've got to get these little pieces out first. But they're breaking, that's the problem. Oh, hold up, hold up, hold up.
Well, would you looky there.
That one's a decent size.
As I was saying, well, they don't always stick together, so
yeah.
Just go ahead and put them all in the bucket there. There's still a whole bunch more there in that little clump. But anyhow, like I was saying, usually I'll rake all the dirt up like this. I usually don't get lucky enough to feel. There's the rest of it right here under this tip right here.
I hadn't.
Usually don't get lucky enough to fill them under the rake, and I have to wind up sitting here going through it by hand. And feeling them out. Sometimes you'll see a little slight reflection on the surface of the dirt, or an odd shape, something along that lines.
Oh, look.
And you just kind of toss it there out of the way. But seems like this is a pretty good little spot right there in that little dark spot. There is a pretty good little cluster of them that we're going to work on getting them all out of there.
Careful, baby. There's a lot of broken ones right here. Like, a lot.
There. I said laying there. It's a little bit in the ground.
Get it, babe?
No.
Did you lose it?
No, I ain't lost it. It's just a...
You need some assistance digging it out?
No, I get it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna clear a little bit of this muck out of the way. I don't know what kind of stone that is.
I have been extremely careful not to move my feet because as easy as it is to cut your fingers, I'd hate to cut my foot open.
Okay. There's a nice looking one. If you did, it'd be your own fault for not wearing shoes in here. Just like it'd be my own fault for not wearing gloves.
Right.
So.
Ow! Dang it.
That's gonna clean up real nice right there.
That hurt. Oh, okay.
Another one. I'm going to take this little bit of an opportunity to show you the different layers here. I don't know how well you can see that, but you can see this here is your topsoil. And it goes down to this here sandy layer. It's more of a white color. When you get to this layer, this darkish red, it's I would say it's moist, but everything out here is kind of moist. But when you get to this, just barely under the surface of this color, that is where you're going to find
Like this.
the crystals at.
Right here.
There, I mean, you can see they're
sorry,
right
touch your
there.
finger.
They're just barely under that red layer. So you can dig down with a shovel or a tool until you hit that red layer and just barely get to that red layer and then stop. Then work easy the rest of the way down. And it's easy as pie from there on. Alright everybody, you'll have to forgive the setup here. I almost forgot to show everybody some of what we pulled out. So the setup's not going to be the best. I don't have the mics hooked up and I don't have the proper lighting, but we're going to take a little bit of a look here. The different formations they grow in. This right here is more of what's sought after. You can see the little bit of the hourglass shape inside of there. You can see that it's nice and pointed on both ends. That's more desired. You know, these are kind of sort of the more typical finds. You get into some of the weird stuff like this over here. It kind of grows in odd shapes and grows together and sometimes grows in different directions like this one here, and these grew in layers. I mean, this is the stuff that I find the most interesting. As you can see, there's no real rhyme or reason, pretty much layers, but they just grew a little out of the normal. And this is nowhere near everything we had. As you can see, let me slide this over here. We pulled out a absolute ton of these crystals between the two of us for, I bet we wasn't out there an hour, maybe a little more. And you can see just how many we were able to pull out. Still ain't figured out what this little stone is. We were pulling them out of the ground maybe 10-12 inches deep, and only rock we were even seeing on the whole place was just a few of these every now and then. But as promised, I'll give you a little bit of a review of what all came out of all this. So here you go. Bye.